So let's make our life a little bit easier and let's introduce the input system. Let's install it. And okay, I'll do the restart and come back to you. So now we're back, but let's go under project settings, player, and other settings, and we want to use both. Well, we want to use both systems for now, otherwise it's just going to be annoying if we have to add the UI and all the stuff. So I'll just use both to keep it simple. So I'm going to restart and come back again. Okay, then we're back. So let's now go and create our inputs. With a new folder, let's call this inputs and create a new input action where this actually is. Legacy input actions. Okay, and just going to say player inputs. Let's set it. Okay, then let's add the keyboard. Although I think for now it can just be this, doesn't matter. You can also control which device to add, but for now let's say player 1. And I think for the most part we just need to split up, down, left, right. Okay, so duplicate. Actually, let's set the first one. So up will be W and down left, right. Now we also have two jump buttons, one attack and one jump. For the most part, those are fine for, you know, a game that was from Game Boy Advance, because it only had those buttons. But we can of course split it, so I think I'm going to split it to say attack heavy. So in our sense that will be attack 2 and attack 1. So we end up with 3 buttons. Let's assign all bindings, however, just for now. Then we'll see a few more things. So down, left, right, and attack 1, I'm just going to go with R. Jump will be attack 2. Let's assign tough. Of course, feel free to use anything you want, and I'll say G for jump. Okay, next for the attacks, actually, because I like to use the mouse when developing, so I'm faster, I'm also going to use, let's see, back, forward, left, middle mouse button, press. So attack 1, attack 2. Actually, I'm just going to add the jump on the right button, and attack 2, let's add the middle button. Okay, then let's save the asset, and while we're here, let's generate C# class and so on. Awesome. Now let's go on to our input handler, which is here. Let's open up in Visual Studio. And we have to kinda change slightly our logic, because we won't be having this anymore. And of course, we won't be using the horizontal or vertical. We need to assign our events. So first of all, let's use public player inputs. Let's call it input events. Then on awake, we're going to handle this. Then we're going to say input events. We're going to start a new class. Then at the end we should enable, and then we are free to add all our events in the middle. So input events player1 dot up dot start. I'm going to start to do with started, so we will add a new delegate that all that's going to be doing is going to be saying input frame dot up equals true. Then on the cancel, it's going to be setting this to false, which means we won't require any of this anymore. So we're just going to okay, we can set up this context. We can just duplicate all of this. Let's duplicate it better and simply replace our calls. Let's do the locomotion first. So down, down, left, left, right, and right. Now we also need to change this from here. So down, down, left, left, right, and right. Okay, so we can delete all of this. We don't have a use for them anymore. We do need the attacks, however, so let's also put the input events player1 dot attack dot. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it the same way as the. Yeah, let's do it the same way as locomotions. So started. Also, we need to change the started to cancelled. Otherwise, we won't be seeing any change. Okay. Target direction now. Yeah, we need to take care of the target direction as well. So give it a second. And let's also bring the jump. Okay, so jump and jump. Awesome. Now let's put in the target direction. So if input frame dot up target direction dot y equals 1. Actually, we could also store this in here, and that will be with, but we will want to do. Okay, so we won't do it here, we will do it here, so it's also simpler. So input frame dot down target direction dot y equals -1. If input frame dot left target direction dot x equals -1. If input frame dot right target direction dot x equals 1. Okay, so we end up with exactly the same thing, only now we're using events, and we'll see why events are needed in a bit. Okay, awesome. So close that. So technically now, hitting play, we should have the exact same behaviors as before. Okay, and we do. We can jump with the mouse, an attack or with the other keys. We don't have the heavy attack. We'll add it in a bit. We're going to split the animations so we have multiple combos. So, and let's say we want to add a dash to this. Let's go and create an animation first of all, and we already know how to create the animations now. So going into animations, let's say create a new clip, art, Mikey. What do we have the animations? Mikey, I think I just have it anyway. Let's just add them inside idle, and we'll do a dash. The dash, from what I saw in the game, they just reuse the jump animations. So it should be tackling over here. Yeah. So they just reuse these frames. Let's use this one for first. And because this one now is raised, we probably want to make it be a little bit down. About the center, I guess. 115. Okay. You see that I'm only moving the sprite render layer, not the holder, because it's very I think we need to add the other frame as well. The first frame. 2. Okay, something like that. And at some point over here, he's going to be getting up. Maybe with this frame. And then the first idle frame. Okay, so something like that. And here, where he starts to get up, we're going to make this back at 0. So on the curve, on the position, let's find the Y, select all of it, and both tangents should be at constant width. So it will look something like this. So now let's also add the movement. So we will start from here, then we want the entire thing to move till here where he will be at the end. Okay, let's see. Okay, maybe that's too much, too far. Let's do 0.5. Yeah, that can be okay. I'll just add like 0.5 more. But yeah, that will work fine for what we need. Okay, so that's our dash, and as always, let's go on the animator and let's link this back to the locomotion with the x time at 1 and 0. So how do we add dash using these inputs? First of all, we're going to do a new method which we're going to say handle dash. Then we'll say last left time and last right time. Okay, let's assign the bool is left, so we know where we are going towards to. Then on our input frame, I think we're going to have to add a dash frame. Let's do public bool is dash. Then in here we need to know, well, we do know one is that it's a new dash. We don't know, however, if the does, although, okay, we know how to do this. We're going to say if, let's say real time or time now, time dot real time since startup, then if time now minus last left time is less than, let's do 0.4, and that is if you're left, then that means you actually have a dash. Okay, otherwise last left time equals time now. Same with right, last right time, time now. Then on our input frame, let's say is dash, and actually let's do is dash right equals true, and is dash left, let's create a new one just in case you want to make this separate, but I think this shouldn't matter. Is dash left equals true. Okay, so we can add this now onto started. We can add this as a method and handle dash, or actually just handle dash. And yeah, is left true. Yeah, okay. And then let's do the same thing for the right. And set it to false. Okay, awesome. So on our state now, when we are reading or detecting an action, we already check, let's see, current state actions. We just check for actions. Current action data is this. Okay, then we have each action. Okay. Get actions, action index. Action data holder, action data holder. Okay, and then you have from this. And do we change this? I don't think we change this. Let's take a look. Yeah, we have player actions, and then from each action we just get its action ID, jump attack. Okay, and then on second one. So this now can be treated as a state. So inside the action container we can say public bool can dash. Now we're going to need the action container, however. So instead of get actions, I'm only going to be returning the action container, which we simply need to remove the last part here, and then in this reference we're going to say action data container, action data container. Okay, why is this complaining? Actions container, not action data, actions container. Okay, then on the return of this you'll be doing this. But if current action data is not null, if current action data can dash, and actually if on the F on our frame we have dash left or dash right, we do a check for our dash. So if on this state we can actually dash, first of all, if current action data is null, then don't do anything. If current action data is null, then return. We also need to get rid of this, or say if it's false and it's false, and is dash left and is false and is dash right is false. Okay, then return. So if you can dash, then we'll simply say if, well, let's do, we want to set up the direction, so that will be unit controller, or that will be the action A, the animation. Oh, that's, we are already in the unit controller. Okay, so handle rotation is dash left. Okay, and then we're playing the animation. Play animation dash. Then whatever this is going to do, we're going to say is dash left, is dash right. Okay. And I think we could just do this in here. And we do a return afterwards. So if we tick now can dash on the idle state, let's give them a name, idle and jump, or on jump, we should be able to dash normally. And voila, we can with pretty much easy. So you saw how easy that was. So let's say we want to add a second player. Well, the simplest way to do this will be to go under data, under inputs, on our player inputs, open this and duplicate the first one. And there we go. Now we have player 2. We do have to reassign all the keys we have, however. So we'll do up, down, left, or use, or use any of the keypads. Right arrow, attack. Let's just use IOP. I keyboard. Okay, I don't want to use the mouse, of course. I, O, and P. Perfect. So let's save that. So now we also need to set up the input handler for the second player. So simplest way, public bool is player 2. If is player 2, else. Okay, so let's make this as a method. Void is setup player 1. Now you will think that you can pass this as, you will think that you can pass this as a method to change, to encapsulate this, but strangely enough we can't. Let's see why. I'm always curious why I can't just pass this and encapsulate it, because this one is giving the name of player 1 action. Does it have a base? No. Yeah, because it basically creates a structure by itself, a struct by itself. So it's kind of, it's making it case sensitive. So I don't know what's the deal with that, but it's also not that hard to do this and just write player 2, and of course remove this and this. Okay, and everything else should work fine as well. So set up player 2. And was that? And let's make another turtle. Move it here. Hit play. And we need to also tick it, of course. That is player 2. Okay, and you can see we can play fine. And there's no hit, of course. But yeah, with this you can do multiplayer just fine. With this one. Perfect. That's actually, I think we are good enough for now. And you see why the new emote system is much more better and much easier to work with on the old one. And I really love this. Awesome. So you know what, let's end the part over here. I'm going to add at some point a new turtle, just so we have different turtles to play with, something that the original game didn't have. But then again, of course, it was for Game Boy Advance. And then we can move on into actually fleshing out an entire level. So that's it for now. As always, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and keep supporting me so we can keep making all these cool things we're doing. I'll see you next time.